sense of soul. It's time to awaken.
Today on Sense of Soul, I have Viviane Chauvet. She is an advanced Arcturian Hybrid Avatar. Viviane's present emanates the radiance of the Arcturus 13 light dimension system. She is a published author, an international speaker. She's the owner of Infinite Healing from the Stars and the Arcturian Healing Arts Program, and the creator of Arcturian Energy Matrix Healing. Over the past decade, Viviane has conducted over 22,000 private healing sessions worldwide, and she's with us today to share her wisdom for transformative change and quantum evolution. Thanks so much, Viviane, for returning back on Sense of Soul, and recommend to the listeners to go back and listen to our first interview, which was, probably like 2 years ago. It was a long time ago.
Yes.
And a lot has happened in the world, and a lot of people have awakened since then.
Very much so. We are at a time where the human race is really starting to realize that they've been really downsized or diminished in their abilities to really be powerful co-creator, guardians, living in a more unified way, to no longer identify so heavily to what part of the world did you grow up. What is your, like proudly wearing like a badge of honor? This is my story. This is my upbringing. This is the religion I wear. This is the belief system I was taught in school. So we start to realize that what identity means. I notice also that semantics, words, communication is shifting. It's no longer the same, like we approach the word ascension, awakening. That meaning has profoundly changes. It changes in the same way as, we're exploring and rediscovering and start to remembering more of our potential of who we are for each other, who we are for one another, who we are for the planet, for Gaia. What place do we play in a solar system, in a galaxy? So there's a more cosmic return of consciousness. And for those who are still very, very much engaged in their dreams or a reality or an oppression, I think it's an invitation worldwide, even to the leaders and those who call themselves leaders. That energy of leadership is also demanding to change. It can no longer be sustained that only 1% of an entire race will benefit, where 99% will live in either middle class condition or poverty. This is no longer acceptable. This is no longer where we are. The resources and the richness of the planet are designed for everyone, for every life form. There's no need to oppress another life form to release ourselves from anger or oppression or pain. So we're starting to understand more that because we're all interconnected, that one, we arm somebody else, that arms you back in many, many ways. And it keeps you in a paradigm of pain and separation and stress and resentment. So to understand that the energy or the actions that you put out there, or pay attention, when you travel or you go to the market or you're in an airport, you find, somebody in help, bring yourself back in that compassionate presence. Be present instead of being on autopilot and be on your phone and be so in a hurry to get to your destination. Yes, you need to accomplish what you've come to do, and that's fine. Bring yourself more in a compassionate presence. I remember one time, Shanna, I think it must be a year or two ago, I was sitting in the airport by myself. I was on my way to a conference, and I felt intuitively called to sit next to this wonderful elderly gentleman. And he started to talk with me. So I put down my phone and I reply with joy, with a smile, with compassion. Turned out to be that gentleman was on his way back to his family, but he has some memory issues. So he wasn't sure he was waiting at the right time, the right terminal, the right place for his plane. So he asked me, he said, I have my daughter on the phone. Would you talk to her? I'm a pure stranger. I said, yes, I will. So the woman on the phone is panicking. Who are you? I said, look, let me introduce myself. My name is Viviane. I just so happen I'm sitting next to your father and he's started to talk to me. And I can tell he's disoriented. I want to make sure he gets on the right plane so he can get to your family. Is that okay? Oh, okay, that would be fine. And that kind of temper, that energy, I can appreciate. The daughter concerned for her father, not knowing it was that woman talking to her on the phone. But we established that connection. And then we went back and forth and I checked his paperwork and I asked the flight attendant desk. And then I said, I would like to reassure you that your father is waiting by the door and the personnel on site are aware that everybody is aware and I'm going to be sitting next to your father. Just make sure that he gets safely on the flight back to his family. And she said, well, thank you for your help. And then he disconnected and we stayed there and we talked some more. And the time came. I make sure that he was the first one to get in. Turned out to be that on his way, his wallet dropped on the floor. He was going to travel without his wallet and any IDs. So I saw I was going to do it. A gentleman sitting across came and says, sir, you dropped your wallet. And he go like, well, thank you very much. So it became a collaboration among where we were sitting. So, and in the plane turned out to be, I was 2 rows behind him. So when I walk in the aisle and he was sitting, I said, well, Mr. So-and-so, I'm glad you're sitting safely. I'm only 2 rows behind you. Okay, Viviane, he said, that's good to know. So then during the flight, again, the personnel on board start to understand that I was interacting with this gentleman. So before we landed, I asked the flight attendant, I said, can you make sure that Mr. So-and-so be taken to the airport? The family is waiting for him. I want to make sure he gets to where he needs to be. So that became a collaborative through at the airport, in flight, and by the time we landed. And it was wonderful. It didn't ask much of me. All it asked of me is my compassionate presence, rather than to be sitting next to him and he mumble and go, ha, 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 and ignoring him and be caught up in social media, Facebook, what's the latest on Twitter? It doesn't matter. He was more important than what was happening on social media. So it's just an example, a very simple example of where we need to go back. And we talk about Gaia needs our kindness, our healing, needs to be restored and needs all of us. Well, it starts how you treat each other. It starts how you treat your own self. It starts how you perceive animals. Do you perceive other life as inferior? Do you just repeat the same loop that other beings do to you? So you are breaking that cycle that I choose to break that cycle in every day, even if you live in the jungle or in by the sea or a little town, or if you're in Thailand or wherever you are, you can break the cycle. Imagine if millions of us on the planet says, we break the cycle right now. The change is imminent. The ripple effect will be really potent and is potent. So that ripple effect that day that I create generate also the attention to other people and start to awaken. And I can tell people around start to be attentive to what was happening. They were just, releasing themselves from that autopilot distractions or the programming of don't talk to strangers, stay, and you don't look at me because I can look at you. Those are barriers put in place a long time ago. We need to come back into a more unified way of living with each other. We want to reascend to the 5th dimensional frequencies. Well, it's the frequencies of love, unity, harmony. This is where we're moving into. Well, you need to implement that every day, having benevolent thoughts, benevolent feelings, speaking, compassionate presence. The more you're able to cultivate this, it's easy to show that to anybody else because it's part of your nature, it's part of who you are, your essence. Does that make sense though?
Oh, beautiful. And it's really simple, isn't it? It didn't require much of you.
No, no. And you're right about that, Shanna. The only thing that day it required of me is, am I attentive to more than myself? Am I attentive to what's happening around me? And sometimes people just need an acknowledgement or a little smile. I'll tell you another example. I was walking in a public place. I travel quite a bit and I do a lot of public events. It was not a conference. It was more of a mundane settings. I don't know if it was a store or a market or a place. Oh, I know what it is. It was in a furniture store. How mundane is that? 3D
Always just
a
places.
furniture store. But here's what happened. As I'm walking to the aisle opposite side, there was this beautiful Indian woman from India. Beautiful dress in her traditional, beautiful dress and traditional Indian, beautiful. And I can tell by the energy of a group, there's a bit of tension. So sometimes they have tension between the role of women and men or how they perceive culturally. So I can't help looking at her. She was beautiful. This is who I am. I'm going to look at you because there's a purpose behind it. So I'm crossing path and I'm looking at her right in the eyes. And she goes, and I went, I smile with love and joy. And she went, her face changed automatically, Shanna, from you're going to judge me or you're going to do something to no, you're smiling at me. And I just smile. And you can tell in my eyes there was the reflection of my being connecting to another being. And that's all I did. And I can tell. And as we move along in our journey, the energy shifted. It was not the same. I can tell that she was in a different space. Now, the ripple effect that I created at that moment, she brings that with her in her group, her family, the dynamic of her day, with herself, most importantly, as a woman, as a divine feminine. At that point, there was no more cultural barrier. You see? And I did that. I did that. And sometimes I will be responding with a frown or, what do you want? But I still know that that energy is there, that seed is helping maybe to break a barrier, to heal something deeply. We want to be the peacemaker. We want to be the ones who bring the healing, but I can be this way. You don't have to do hands-on Reiki and things like that to necessarily classify yourself as a light worker, a healer, or to be of service. That presence of my presence of the light for this person was healing her. I could tell just by the way her eyes and her expression changed. That's
just
another
by
example.
smiling. Yeah. That probably just lit her up in that moment, gave her some hope. She probably felt your love. That's what the world needs, isn't it? You know what? That's funny because I was at the store the other day. I was at Home Goods and I was looking for a painting. And there was this mother and her baby and a teenage daughter. And the teenage daughter was sitting like this with her head down, like praying. And she looked so sad. And I think I had heard, like, maybe I didn't hear exactly what they were saying, but she was getting fussed at by her mom. And I was so drawn to the girl, the teenager, that I kept on like going down the same aisles, try not to be too, too obvious. And I did the same thing. I got eye contact with her and gave her a smile.
Mm.
And I also was sending her just so much love and, like from my heart, energetically. And I was actually in that moment was almost emotional. Um, that's also being an empath too, just being able to sense what's going on around you, and alerting you. If we are busy, we're missing opportunities to make that moment, that shift, like you said. I like how you said that.
Exactly. Thank you so much for that wonderful example, because that's exactly it. At that moment, you became attuned and sensitive to somebody else, stress, anxiety, a moment in time where she was praying, or you can tell that there was some challenge. And making that eye contact is really what we call consciousness connecting to consciousness, soul connecting to soul, humans connecting to humans. And that's part of where we are. People wants to, how can I be of service? I'm awakening. I want to know more. I'm a seeker. There's no need to seek anymore. Seeking fuel a little bit the energy of separation, because you seek more and more and more, like a hamster wheel. So instead of it, just declare yourself that I, as a light worker, I naturally radiate the light that I want to be, the light that I want to be, and inspire others to be. It's instead of seeking, just embody. Instead of seeking, cultivate. And what it means is that it allows you to really get in tune with that part of you that you seek so much, but it's already available to you in the now. So it really embrace, and you start to really shift. This is what we call a different rite of passage, or one-dimensional experience to the next. And as you move from one-dimensional experience to the next, this is what you're experiencing and become the transformation that originally you were seeking about. So that also allowed to release yourself, or release people who are on their path, from having a more mentalized approach to spirituality or ascension or transformation, or more a mentalized concept of what consciousness is. It's not in the mind. It really is not a mental process, especially on the third dimensional logic mind, the left brain. It's really an experience of the heart and in the soul. It's a grand return to really rekindling with the being of light that you are. You're first and foremost this divine being of light. You're ageless, timeless. You're this ancient soul. You've existed in so many capacity. And then that spark of you, that God spark, or that soul emanation of you that has returned in this body, now you took on this identity for the purpose of learning, but it's still your soul learning from this identity, not the other way around. This identity is like experiencing your soul, you see? And that shift in nature of even interweaving with the name of your soul, sense of soul, you're coming back into an understanding that your soul is the one experiencing this human journey. And not the human says, I'm going to teach my soul, then I'm a human. No, it's the opposite. If that makes sense too.
Oh yeah, it does. It totally makes sense to me. And I agree with you about that seeking. I was seeking hardcore, for years, going down those rabbit holes. But as you begin to awaken, and that you are more than a meat suit, you're multidimensional, you become very curious, because it's now a new world like you've never seen it, right? You're noticing the trees and the animals, and all of a sudden you notice, the old man sitting next to you having a problem. You notice that there's suffering all over. And you also realize that maybe everything that you thought you knew isn't. And so there's this curiosity and hunger for knowledge and to know. But you're right. It's seeking outside of yourself. And so it goes back to I don't know who said it, know thyself, right? I mean, it wasn't wasted energy. I learned good history. But in the spaces in between, when I was quiet and still and present, is really truly when I was receiving wisdom rather than knowledge.
Mm. That's a big distinction right now. And this is why it's helping everyone to start to unwind more and more from what the mind asks you to know. Because it's no longer how much you think you know. There's a distinction first between information and knowledge and wisdom. So it's like a triangle here. Information, knowledge, and wisdom. There's really much a distinction. No matter how much information you ingest, if it's done just because your mind is curious, then you are simply in another loop. And it will never be satisfying because the mind always asks for more. This is not where the answers are. So if you're only satisfying questions, then you're just adding water to a bottomless vase that can no longer retain what it has been given. So you always go into that wheel of, I need to know more. What do you think about the source or the next one or the next shiny t-shirt coming on the horizon, or this book and this, and then you grab. But that's information. Now, if you're utilizing some of the knowledge with discernment and presence, and it becomes part and help you positively with empowerment and encouragement to reshape who you are in a higher form, that's true knowledge. Then becomes a wisdom that you earn, and that wisdom is what is going to fuel or motivate your actions, your words, your presence, your perspective, like walking in a room and being like compassionate presence, because you have the wisdom. I apply this every day. It doesn't have to be perfect. Yes, everybody will go through fluctuations. You have the right to feel your emotions. You have the right to feel that today I feel less attuned, my heart is aching, or I'm going through personal events. Honor your space. You're still who you are. It changes nothing to the profound nature of who you are. You're still a compassionate being. You're still being of the light. You're still being of service of the light. You're still being in tune. But you have the right to experience what is appropriate for you in that moment. And I speak of that a lot, again, because the paradox here for me to say all of this is that I speak to you as an intergalactic being in this human form. And yet I understand the human journey, the human nature. That's what makes it so profound. So if we can understand your nature as a human being yourself, imagining when you're discovering the true nature of what a human being is about. The human race was always designed to be a compassionate race of peaceful beings living in harmony in a garden called Gaia, and be co-creator, to bring in the light of the prime creator, to co-manifest higher dimension and frequencies. Never, never, never designed to be at conflict with each other like this, and to be pulled down into such a very low, denser feel of fear constantly, and poverty consciousness, and conflictual energies, and separation because of, my group believe in this God and your group believe in the other God, and we're going to, create conflict with each other based on false concept anyway. And I say that with love, but I just realize, what are you doing? Wake up, realize, going, wait a second. You're simply, again, you're earthing your own being inside of you. You're earthing your heart. You're earthing your nature, and start to realize. And for those who are really much more on their path, and, the inspired people, they teach yoga, or they're, practice meditation, then you're contributing to the elevation of an entire race. But it's not just humans, it's all the beings, all the sentient life that coexist with you, oceans, land, resources, trees, the animal kingdom. Animals are sentient beings just like you. It's just they have different physical form, and they have different language. They will growl, they will emit sound, they will do, different vocal noise. That's their way of communicating. For those of you who are animal lovers, you can feel when you attune yourself with animals, whether you have a cat at home, a dog, a bird, a rabbit, a horse, just attune yourself to life. I remember last year when my husband and I were in Maui for co-hosting an event there. He took me to this beach where the sea turtle come to rest on the beach, and it's a sacred place. It's protected, and we were very, very lucky that day, because there were about at least a dozen of them on the beach. And the eldest of the group right away turned gently its head sideways towards me and opened his eyes and looked at me right in my third eye and told me, do not come any further. Do not disturb us. And I said, I'm here to hold a space with you in beauty and awe and honor. You're magnificent. Thank you for your presence. I promise to stay right where I am, and I will not go further. And like, yes, I trust energy. There was a trust energy. And then put his head back, closed his eyes, and never got disturbed again. He knows the turtle, the consciousness of this ancient being knew that I would hold my promise, and I did. And I just stayed where I am, sending them, all of them, love, protection, galactic energy, cosmic light. And some of them will go back to the ocean, and others will come out of the ocean. And we stayed about for an hour just to be in their presence. It was amazing.
They are one of the most ancient species on our planet.
Yes, turtles are very ancient. They evolve over so many transmutation genetics and to be where we are today. I can tell us that one in particular was the eldest of the group, and he or she or the energy or what he was holding was connecting to the rest of the group. So if that elder said it's okay, all the other turtles just stay still, never moved, opened their eyes. There was no sign of distress, anxiety. Can I trust you? Can I mistrust you? What's going on? No, there was this understanding, one being connecting to another being. And then other people came, and some were distracted by, oh, they're so cute. I'm going to go close, take pictures and touch them. And that's why education comes. No, this is a sacred space. Please back away, respect them.
Yeah.
It was not well received, or it can be well received. Honestly, it was irrelevant to me whether it was well received or not. What was matter is to bring mindfulness and consciousness. No, I'll tell you why. Step away, respect them. Look at your behavior. You're disturbing. You're throwing a pebble or rock in a pond. You're disturbing the entire piece or the structure of that ecosystem. No. Yeah.
Right.
I'm never shy to express that. But I want to express in a way, please, can you please step away? And that's the sacred place. It's protected even by the native. It's their place of resting. We have to stay at a certain distance. And like I said, whether it's well received or not, I always tell people, I never talk to your logic mind. I talk to your heart and to you as a being of light.
And that's their home. You guys were coming up into their world. It's so interesting because of so many things you could use just that story. I mean, I thought of the natives, or I thought of, the differences, and just respecting that space. How often are we going into the animal kingdom and, colonizing it and with no thoughts of respect whatsoever?
That's the grand return of a reconnection to the heart center. I know that so many spiritual teachers, let's call it this way, talks about the importance of reconnect to your heart. It is very much than a cliche or a spiritual concept. It is truly the center of your being, the center of your empathic responses or being an empath. It is very much the center where the human race will reascend into a higher state of grace, to return into the higher celestial state. That interface between the higher mental faculties, not your brain, the brain is just the hardware, your mind, the bridge between the sacred interface between the higher mind and your heart center is really your path to enlightenment. It really is. If you look at the history, all the ascended masters, beautiful masters like Master Sananda, Buddha, Master Mary Magdalene, Master Kuan Yin, there's so many beautiful ascended masters. If you look at the premise, the energy behind it, whether it's a divine feminine and a divine masculine energies. It really is the connection through the heart, is to return to that luminous form. At that point, there's no more, I'm holding on to my IDs. So this is what I think, this is what I believe, this is my little world, this is a little me. You're releasing the little me, right? Exactly. You're transcending beyond the little me. What served my need, what served, my food, my space, my thing, and then everything else doesn't exist. So that little concept, or that primal concept of the lower self, merge with the higher part of you, and you're returning to a more of an ascendant form. It is 100% possible and accessible to everybody. It really is. They're simply these masters of light, or look at your intergalactic communities, your star brothers and sisters, those who have reached enlightenment, those who have reached a level of spiritual advancement. We did it. You can too. Look at the Arcturians, my civilization. We're just very ancient. We've gone through our share. We have our own history of moving through different phases of our cycles of life, understanding, coming from one space to one state of awareness to another, and we became the masters of light that we are today. We're no different. It's just simply that the human race is at different stages of their evolution. So what we speak of from a human perspective is to relate to everyone, to show you that you start to implement how you live your life is important. The same thing has souls. Some people come here, the soul comes, embody a physical form, born, live a life, and die, the transformation out of the body. The one thing that is the most common, the most baseline to everything is the way you have lived your life is how you're going to emerge in your light on the other side of the veil. You don't become enlightened because you transform out of the body. Is what you've done while you in the body that also counts. And I've seen that firsthand with souls who left the body, and we coach them to see, where are they? Where's the attachments? Where's the place? Or emotional attachments, or concept, or fear, or what they believe are their lives. That will have a direct impact of how the soul evolves. And those who've been on their path all their life, they thrive, they move into the light, and they become these beautiful being of shining light. I've seen that both ways. So the point I'm making right now is everything that you do every day in this lifetime counts, matters, makes a difference, whether it's just for you, how much light you carry. Are you cultivating that compassion? Are you aware? Are you present? If you encounter an animal who needs help, it provides help. No longer ignore. Be there. How can I assist? Without having to go into the same energy. There's no need to suffer. You can recognize the pain. You can recognize the hardship. You can recognize what needs to be done, but from a point of empowerment. So you're no longer enabling others because you think you're compassionate. That's a 3D concept. We're talking about universal compassion. Compassion presence is, I feel for you, and I'm going to hold you in that light so you can really rise, co-create higher resolution, co-create higher solutions, come together. If many comes to help one, it's magnificent. That's the co-creation of the light. That's the co-creation of returning to our state of grace. Does that make sense?
Makes so much sense. And I love this conversation so much because I feel it's like what the world needs to, be reminded of, that not only is this, you can change someone's day by being present, but also connecting with the animal kingdom, everything around you, the land, and also our planetary system. I tell you, I was very affected. I've been following the solar storms for some years, and I only came to them because I'm very sensitive to like the moon and what's going on up there. And so I would find myself over time, and I started noticing it was happening a lot, and it was matching up to these solar storms. And this is like 2 years, and I, just kind of trial and error, like something's up with me, I feel something. And then I'd look, and sure enough, there'd be a solar storm. So I really started to follow them. And when all of that solar storm stuff was happening and the CMEs were, it was like my entire body was flipping out. I mean, I felt numb and fuzzy for like a week. I'm finally becoming a little bit normal, but I'm very affected. And someone had said, maybe you need to stop rejecting this energy and maybe try to align with it.
Mhm.
So I went and I watched the sunsets. And I live in Colorado, so we have beautiful sunsets. And from that moment since, the energy went down. It wasn't so out of control.
Thank you for mentioning the solar energy, what you experienced personally, watching all of these solar storms, being anxious, worry about it, concerned, to feel, and that release is that you release the resistance. Instead of going against those solar energies and want to counteract them and fear them or what they potentially can do to you or electronics or the planet, you shifted your perspective. I love the way you said, I want to go see, watch, just be in the presence of the sunset. May I ask what happened for you at that moment when you watched that sunset?
I was emotional. And so there was a physical release. Oh, I can feel it actually right now. I've got goosebumps all over. But yeah, it was a powerful moment, and it was one that I stole. But I knew that I needed it. So, I mean, my house was full, my kids were home, and I said, I have to go get the mail, is what I said. And I glanced over at the sun, and instead of going get the mail, I took a right instead of a left and just went with it. And, they're like, dang, you took a long time. But I came back refreshed. I felt good. I felt like I released.
It sounds to me you made peace with the sun. You made peace
Mhm.
with the solar energy. That was it was your agreement, your way to reconnect with it. That's what I'm sensing.
Yeah. I've always been more of a moon person. This is for sure. I've shared many secrets with the moon, and have, that's kind of a space that I'm comfortable in,
Okay.
very comfortable in. And you're right. I was very much rejecting
Mhm.
the solar energy. It made me anxious. It made me have physical effects, and I was, stressing and tensing, and yeah, it was actually a great teacher, wasn't it?
It was a fantastic teacher because you brought in another level of balance and equilibrium within you that your cells, your body, your entire metabolism needs. The solar presence is there to help to usher evolution, to accelerate evolution. It's there to support, and there's many solar portals that many intergalactic groups utilize to travel and connects. It's a great connectors of a network. So all these solar gamma energy coming back into the electromagnetic field of Gaia and into our own field, it really is designed to supporting that spark of evolution, expansion, transmutation. So it's interesting. I love when you say you're more moon person. I am more of a sun person. Of course, Arcturians were very close to the sun. So for me, the sun is extremely important. This is why I live in Arizona, where it's sunshine all the time. I need it.
Makes sense.
No gray cloud and cloudy days for me. Sun.
It just also goes to show you the importance of that unification of, light and dark, male and female, right? The energies are completely opposite, but yet we need them both very much to survive and to live. And this earth needs both of them to align. And I loved like the energy around the eclipse this year because I felt like the divine feminine got to be in the front for her moment for all to see. This is a very, very, seems pivotal kind of year for all of us here on Earth. I'm not really, sure if it's good or bad or if it's both, but it seems very important. What kind of feeling or knowledge have you received about this year? Seems very important.
It is very important. So I want to go back to what you're mentioning about the divine feminine returning. I did a meditation called Birthing of the Divine Feminine. And as a birthing process, you can feel that even in Gaia's body, in her grid system, in her core, you can tell there's a birthing coming through. And then has a restoration of the divine masculine. So those both divine, sacred, prime creator archetypes are really coming back to the planet to come back into sacred equilibrium and balance. Both aspects are needed to sustain the next level of thriving life. No longer survival. We're moving out of that paradigm. There's no need to survive anymore. It's about thriving. It's about elevation. It's about really elevation. So that's part of what we're seeing. It's a very pivotal time where people, everybody individually and collectively, you're deciding by the choice that you sustain, the belief system that you nourished, by the reality that you accept. It's really redefining at what level are you going to ascend, continue to progress, elevate, move, transform, or are you going to use a statu quo to maintain in what we call the middle timeline as we are right now? It's still a little bit more spiritual, but more mentalized, technology, AI, medbeds, all these things people are, and there are those who are really much convincing you how AI, it's good for you, and you need to embrace how it's going to improve humanity. Well, you're going into a very specific timeline when you adhere to that and believe and give your power. So you take your power away from what source and you just turn around and give it away to another source. So think about it. Right? Am I just redirecting my power? Now it's AI, it's the new label, it's the new, or are you empowering a device that you need to plug to a computer? They'll tell you, oh, the computer will tell me how my organs are doing. No, you can ask yourself, how's my organs doing? Liver, I want to talk to you. How you doing? Oh, I know it's been a lot of absorption. Time to clear. I love you. Let's bring the energy of love, bring the energy, the frequencies of living light, codes in your liver, your kidneys, or kidney you've been filtering so much. Just feel them, touch, open the sacred portal of the healing power, the universal energy. You can hold to the palms of your hands. Touch your body. Put your hand on your stomach. Gentle rotation. Stomach, you've been so good to me. Absorbing all my thoughts, my mental pressure, all this anxiety, all this energy I maintain in my mental field. It's hard to digest. You realize that's hard to digest? It's a lot to ask of your body and your GI tract. So let's clear the mind. Let's just clear that reservoir. Take a deep breath. Help your stomach to restore itself. I start to digest better again. You can take digestive enzyme, can help activate the enzyme in your mouth. Help your body get in tune. You don't need to plug yourself on a mattress or a computer or a box that creates frequency program for you. Again, you're redirecting your power. That machine is going to heal my knees. But it's not the machine, it's your belief system in it. When you believe so much that that machine is going to heal your knees, the healing is already taking place. So in reality, you don't want to generate the healing, but you take power and you give it to the machine. right? And I see that. Again,
Yeah.
what is important to understand is what type of evolution are you embracing and believing in? Some people, and that's their path, will embrace the power they give to something, and that's how they feel they're evolving. And they'll come across to a road, another crossroad, they're going to go, huh, I thought I was on my path. I thought that, yes, because your path was simply limiting you. Now you reached that limit and you're ready for graduating to the next stage. And there's many of us on the planet who says, I understand everything that we're talking about, and I'm embracing that change. I'm embracing to be more open consciously, and to let that connection to my higher self, my powerful guides. Many people talks to archangels, your star families. Talk to the consciousness of Gaia. She'll come to you. She loves showing up in our field and helping others and be part of it. Gaia will show up in her consciousness. She may take the shape of form of a woman, a human woman, or she take a form of a presence or energy. But ask Gaia consciousness to connect with you, to be able to talk with the elementals, to balance your body, your elements of water, balancing of your body fluids, bloodstream, your element of the earth. You feel your roots are solid. You feel self-assured, self-worthy, self-worth, all of that energy. Your earth element, you feel solid. You feel your fire elemental energies. Your solar plexus, is it open? Your sacral is still active for creativity, imagination, energy is opening. Are you confident about yourself? Or your element of air? Do you embrace the sacred breath of life? Or are you afraid of life and you're contracting your lungs and you wonder why you experience a shortness of breath or some palpitation or your heart seems to race? So you see, it's again conscious aspect this way that you can utilize. It really comes down to where are you investing your power, your light, and your inner peace the most too? And so what reality? And I understand that 2024, that year in particular, it's a year where there's a lot of revelation. Self-disclosure, we want to know about our cosmic origin, we want to know about the galactic history. It's all good as long as it really serves you to evolve. If it just serves to bring in more information and doubt yourself and fear the future, well, it may not be the best approach for you. If you want to know about galactic history, ask the archives. It will be given to you. Ask the guardians of these archives. You have to be present to receive what is it that you ask, right? You ask and you receive, but if you feel of receptivity, it's filtered out by anxiety of your past and fear of the future, well, the answer will be filtered out to these energies. And you say, well, it doesn't work for me because I ask and I barely get any answers. Well, you do get always answers. It just depends on the quality of your receptivity and your willingness to receive the answers. That's another big one there. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we ask, we just don't listen.
Exactly. That's how we call it your field receptivity. It's all of you. Are you again present? And if nothing else to remember from amazing today, heart to heart, soul to soul conversation is what is it that what aspect of reality are you really believing in the most? Where are you? What is it that you are reinforcing, giving your power from one authority? Now we're detaching from government and leaders, we're turning into technology. It's just transferring your power to another source.
We went from religion to government, so it just is.
Yeah, and then government to technology and AI. It's, or I need to know my cosmic origin. Yes, okay. We'll talk about this. It's implied. Think about it. The more you evolve as a race, as individuals, the more you're opening, the more you carry more light, the more your body also shift as clear conduit, the more you attune to start to remembering your own cosmic origins. What cosmic origin or encoding do you carry in your DNA? Your DNA is shifting. Your structures of your cells is shifting. Your entire body template is shifting. That is in coexistence to your state of awareness. Again, where are you the most? So, loving wisdom for today, cultivate more compassionate presence. Compassionate presence means that all aspect of you is here and now at all times, and attune yourself for what's happening, what's unfolding around you, without having to absorb everything. I know for you, many people are empath and very energy sensitive. I'm multidimensional sensitive, so I understand. You can just simply recognize what energy, what's happening. Just recognize, acknowledge it. It's like listening to an orchestra. If you're listening to a beautiful symphony, if you tune in, you start to understand, to hear more the violin, or I can hear the cello, I can hear the piano in the background. You start to tune in, but you're still listening to the symphony by tuning in more to certain instrument, right? Certain octave of sound. You will recognize it. You're experiencing without having to absorb it. That's where we're heading to more.
That's being seriously present. But I do love to do that. Viviane, you are such an important teacher for our time. And, moving into a higher dimension, or whether you're just awakening, you bring something collectively for everyone. And I feel like our planet is better off with you here. Thank you very much.
Wow. Wow. You just made my day. Thank you so much, Shanna. This is amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very important teaching that you're doing.
Thank you.
They picked the right person to come down at this time.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much. I do that within the Arcturian civilizations. I do play a certain role in terms of, yes, I have not, it's not a rank. It's more that I'm playing a certain role, and oftentimes, part and among with others specialized in our group, we're the ones who have been deployed. And we've done that for so many times with so many planets and different places in the multiverse.
Well, we need you. We
That's why I'm
definitely do.
here.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
You're most welcome.
Tell everybody where they can find you and where they can listen to more of this wisdom that you are bringing to humanity.
Absolutely. So for one thing, in terms of free content, I offer 2 beautiful meditation series every month on my YouTube channel, completely for free. Right now, we've been, since last year, one of the series called The Rays of Creation. And then we're going to start a new series called the Star Seed series. It's beautiful meditation. We're going to bring each month an intergalactic, enlightened, spiritually oriented group to nurture the galactic cosmic part of ourselves. We always offer another meditation that is attuned to the month where we are. So we have, in addition to the series, we also add another meditation. But what is really want to work with us directly and immerse yourself in the wisdom, the presence, the activations, the experience that we offer, join our online universal Arcturian community. We have members from all over the world, literally, even all the way to Hong Kong and Australia and everywhere. And it's a building community. People are very dedicated, very light-minded people like you at different stages on their journey, different stage of consciousness. But when we come together, we create truly a unified field. And we offer many events per month with the members, and some of them are private for members, others are open publicly, including our Arcturian holographic group healing. It's a 2-hour healing opportunity with the Arcturians every month. So just join us, and we have different membership, and starting as low as $25 a month, for $25 you can join us and learn and benefit from many things that we do. And we also have an annual retreat just for members that we create that members can sign up for. So there's a lot that we offer, and we're going to continue to expand. And we also have what's called the Arcturian Healing Arts Program. The next program start in November of 2024. It's going to go from November to January of 2025. We take into account a holiday, so no worry about this. The program is built in ways that it honors this time off for everybody. And so it's coming up. Registration is open right now on my website under the Healing Arts Program. 3 levels, different modules we go through. It's a blend, it's a hybrid program between teaching, receiving, activation, but also experiential, personal time, so you can experience what you need the most. And that's, since we launched the program last year, about over a year now, we have had students in over 20 countries already sign up for it. So the response is really phenomenal. So
that would be a wonderful time to put your energy there, you know, into something healing for yourself and for the world, rather than be caught up in all that stuff.
exactly.
Thank you so very much. I truly honor you and your work. And thank you so much for coming back on Sense of Soul.
Always a pleasure. My door is always open to you, Shanna. Thank you for your light and your presence. And we are very grateful to have you as well.
All right,
You're
thank
always
you.
welcome. You're welcome,
All
dear.
right,
Much love
bye-bye.
to you. Bye-bye.